Hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks. Hi, by the way.
I'm muted.
I could hear you fine, but though.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Looking at this list, I found the machine help. Yeah, I said this icon had on the street. Don't know. That was what I just met. I sent it to John Sear today. That's what we've been talking about stuff. Did you send the map the link? Yes, they're on there. You made the link? You do. I do, yeah.
That's what that's it.
I sent John to me. I did like send it at our last meeting. I gave you. When I sent it to Matt, I sent it to you as well. But right before we get started, I do have it there, both versions. So when you need to, you can come up here and you can use the mouse. That one you don't have to. Mhm. This one is the old one. This one is the new one. And I have the time and give it to if you want. And I like so you could just come up here. Just, is that okay, Chair? If I have Lori sit here during her presentation because she can use the mouse. Okay.
Here's the only regarding the March 25th and 21st, now call the order. If you put standing, followed by the pledge, I, here. It's our. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to meet and discuss areas going on the we ask for your divine guidance and we change some very tough decisions we have to make. Please, dear Lord, deliver our servicemen and women as their way and in the Mideast, and also with our first responder and firefighters and law enforcement professionals as they go about their daily jobs of keeping us safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Taylor, he is noted as absent. Secretary Treasurer Hill. Here. Vice Chair Moore,
Here.
Chair Nelson.
Here.
You have a quorum. Thank you.
I would also like to welcome each one of our guests tonight, and the ones that came to participate in the meeting. We appreciate that, and hopefully we can move right through this tonight without any delays. With that being said, we don't have any non-agenda item comments, so we'll move on to old business. Beginning with A, website redesign. So we'll move on to that.
You guys for letting me show you this. We have completed phase one of the design. And I guess it's, oh, this went away.
It's a different,
Oh, okay, it's throwing me off. Will I still be, okay. So this is the base design based on the old logo. And do I want to go into the discussion about the logo?
Yes, please.
Okay, so a new logo was also proposed. So when I found that out, I basically designed to both logos. So I don't have to really change anything after your decision tonight. I have my own thoughts that this is what it looks like with the new proposed logo. So you can tell it doesn't look much different. So this is the home page. We'll have links to, I know it was very important to know what how to work with us. This page is not built out, just giving you an idea of what's going to be here. And then we can have the leadership as well. So we will have the executive team. And again, we're at design phase, so not everything is filled out, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is the footer. So almost everything that was in your old footer, but a little more organized and easier to find stuff. These pages will expand out when you're on the page or looking through this. And Rosanna had asked to be able to see the fort in 3D, so we have that on here as well. Just so you know. Show you a couple of other pages here. So this will be the Port of Fernandina page. These are areas, so I do need a few more pictures. I'm just using one picture as a holding place right now, which is a really great picture, so it works. So this will be that page. Helpful links I haven't designed anything on it yet, but it'll basically helpful links. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't remember who provided this image, but there's a little bit of the port down here too, which I think is kind of nice. And then I need to add some more things on the contact page that I noticed were on the current one. But here we will have the basic contact info. No emails will be on the website of anybody's for security's sake. So we'll have the opportunity to send a message here and then a more detailed request for information. One question I need answered on this is I've included pretty much everything here that someone could ask for information about. Plus side, makes it easier for Rosanna to narrow down what they're asking for. Downside, it might be too many options, and people might get here and go, oh, I can ask for all of that, and then start asking for things like crazy that have to be then remediated. Because remember, anything asked for has to be remediated for accessibility. So I do need a decision on this section. So at this point, we need decisions on the logo on this section, and if we decide to, or if you guys are able to get me more pictures around Nassau County, I've got some great ones of Hilliard, I've got a million of Amelia Island, but if we have other ones, then my intent was on this homepage, didn't really kind of go through the whole homepage here. Here's the rest of the homepage. So monthly meetings will be here. Important information for the links that we kept, announcements, notices of gathering, and then here I have kind of decorative photos. If we have more of Nassau County, then I would like to put one of these bars on the other pages that aren't already full of images. So that's where I would use them so that we get that feel of Nassau County that you guys were hoping for. Any questions? Thoughts? Feedback?
Looks good.
For the for the comment page, you talked about having to people request something that actually remediated. Is that remediated on the flat or?
Yeah, that's the plan, is to only remediate. So your anything old business that someone wants to pull up, but it would have to be remediated if sent out. Anything email. Any thoughts on that extensive list? You guys want to look at it in more detail? How do we want to handle that question?
While to have all of that.
That's just me being potentially overly thorough.
Where did you get the list?
From my chat GPT. I said, what kinds of things would someone ask for under the Public Information Act?
I would think that like emailing a specific commissioner, that's happens quite a bit. So to facilitate that so that they can either email one or all, that's key. And then the public records, usually, that goes directly to us with a copy to the council. And there is like a script of what we can ask for. If someone says, I'm making a public records request, we can say, how do you want it delivered? There may be a fee, and what's your, if they're a person and it's in your hand, you can just hand it to them. But if it's via email, then you have to ask, file size exceeds a certain amount, then there may be fees associated with it, and you let them know, but you don't discourage them from submitting a request, needs to provide. So, and then the city they have a portal and a tracking system. So all the public records requests get a set number, and so they can track their response times. And I think they're now up to the 500s, right? So it's March, and the city's already into the 500. We don't normally get that many, but it's possible that we could get a lot of requests, and to be able to track them and stuff. So they're getting this feedback stuff from you. Generally, I don't like having a radial button with like 15 different options. It almost implies that those are all the options. I know you have an other also. But what's to prevent someone from just selecting all? Right. So yeah, I'm generally I would say no, don't include all those options.
And I need to add how they want it delivered, and if it's email, you said file size.
I think there's
More, maybe
some
some
reason
decent
not
information on that.
right now, but Tammy, do you have like an example of what that should look like? So, I mean, I would have to create, there's not really a fee. So what the city of Fernandina Beach does is they use a software program called Just FOIA. And a lot of public agencies do. We do not have that program. That's how they track. As a citizen, you can go into the website and you can put in a request. And the information that's necessary, the minimum information, and then be able to track and also receive your request via email. So we don't have that capability, but it's possible we can create some kind of form that they fill out.
Well, this will be the form. Yeah, now we can export that to a Google sheet, so you can track it on a Google sheet. We can definitely do that. So yeah, I'm trying to capture everything that could be asked here, so I'll add that if they want it delivered.
Are these required? Because some of these fields, they don't have to provide a phone number, they don't have to provide an address, they don't even have to provide a name.
Oh,
So these have to be optional.
okay,
But we can work together to see how to
yeah,
make that work.
So, I found some example language online, and basically it says they can submit a public records request in person, by telephone, fax, email, or US mail. And then it says if you decide to submit it via email, I can for like that type of language.
okay.
And then a link where basically they're gonna email them. And I like the idea of the Google sheet. I wonder if that's what goes in, like a tracker. Maybe.
So then how many public records do you request do you get month, yearly basis?
The month right now, maybe one every month. Not a lot.
But there was a time when we were receiving like
Right.
30, 40,
But because
so.
Yes, yeah, I'm aware it could fluctuate depending on what the board is considering, we're deciding at any given moment, but, one of the concerns is, to do it right, certainly, but, we have a limited budget. So if we're talking about a system that we have to, purchase or get a license for, or,
Yeah,
somehow fund. Yeah,
I think you're fine without that for sure.
Yeah,
We can. Yeah, so if you can just let me know everything that isn't required, so I can update the form accordingly.
I'll just work directly with Lori, to make sure that we get.
And the verbiage
Yep.
that I need to get in there.
Exactly.
Perfect. Not a problem at all. That sounds great.
Okay.
Um,
Further questions?
one other thing, on this Port of Fernandina, so I'm learning really quickly, which makes total sense, that most things on your current website are outdated. So we did want to include like the marine terminal information, the port features, the channel features, intermodal system. History, I don't think is going to change, but I am assuming that these things that are currently on the website are probably not current to go in here. If I took the words verbatim,
yeah, I think that obviously the different and the physical features of the but sure that's a big change.
what about the intermodal system and I guess the features? I don't know, you guys keep talking about the cranes changing. So I'm not sure which area that falls under. So I just wasn't sure if someone can look at it and make sure I get accurate information, or if I should just reach out because this will be the next thing I'm doing is filling in all the details.
If you'll reach out to me, I'll make sure I get with the operator, and
Okay.
we'll make sure you get the most updated information you can have.
Okay. Perfect. And then the only other outstanding question specific to the website is the logo.
My preference, my preference is the one that we wear on our shirts. My question was, is there a way that we can use the second? Maybe at the bottom of the page where you have some information that we can put on the bottom of that page. Leave the one, because that's the one that's affixed at the port at a CBP office. So, people see that now, and I don't want to get confused. Was
Right.
this someplace else, or is there another office? But
Yeah, that brand recognition.
Yeah, thanks.
I would discourage you from having more than one logo for that very reason. It's just confusing.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of consistency. So, I mean, I don't, like I said, I designed it for either one. So if you want to keep the one, I think it works just fine. I use some orange accents to just give us another color. And most of the pictures are going to have sunsets in them. So it seemed like a good color to use. And I think it works fine with the turquoise. So
Commissioners, any comment on that? Yeah, no, everything, the colors, church.
if I was going to say, if you're going to change it, now's the time, but it's pretty established. So I'm with you there. Yeah, I love the new one, but I'm with you. Yeah.
So, was the logo redesign part of like within the scope of what you were doing?
No, someone proposed it. Who did,
Commissioner Taylor proposed it.
oh, the one that's not here. He had proposed it.
I like the discussion about a new logo, but I think, that's kind of, it's a big deal. And, I am open to a refresh of the logo for sure. I like emphasizing the longevity of the port, that it was established in 1941, the Ocean Port Authority. And find this proposed logo, the new one, to be a little bit busy. It looks almost like, a Tourist and Development Council logo. That was kind of my impression. But I am open to seeing like a few different styles and maybe talking about, talking about the logo. If you're willing to include that in your.
I didn't design it. I had nothing to do with it. It was all Commissioner Taylor.
Oh, okay, so he actually designed it. Okay.
I imagine he used AI.
And also I just ordered some checks and her logo is among the checks.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to impact a lot of things if you change it.
Okay, any further discussion?
I think Matt is online. If he has a question about remediation of the operating agreement and
Well, we need to talk about the meeting packet.
yes, the meeting packet.
Yeah.
So the meeting packet, the requirement said we need to post the agenda. No mention of a meeting packet. So do we want to post a meeting packet? And if so, we have to remediate that.
Well, what came up in our meeting with Matt and his senior person that actually does the accessibility was the law actually says anything that is currently relevant to the public has to be available and remediated. And Matt and his team felt like that did include your meeting packet, which we had originally thought we could just not do because of the agenda. So Matt's team feels like that has to be remediated. So that's something you guys have to decide. And the secondary part of that was what's your comfort level with asking people that provide you the information that goes in the packet, them being responsible for providing remediated documents that are already done. And Matt did research it and found that they cannot outright charge you more to remediate. So if it was like an ongoing relationship, and most of these people probably should be anyway, but they could, if it was a proposal, like say, if it was me coming in with the website, I could add on to it because it's extra work. In most cases, it's really not that much extra work, but, and for your ongoing relationships like the CPA or anyone, Matt's team is perfectly comfortable training them at a very low cost if to be able to help them get it to your remediated as well. But that was an issue that just came up that we definitely need you guys to talk about and figure out.
What is the cost of, let's just take tonight's, meeting package, 15 pages long?
Uh,
Matt, are you there?
yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
How do we make Matt
Oh, there's gonna be a feedback.
CPA or anyone, Matt is perfectly comfortable training that
So there's a delay. Yeah.
to be able to help them get
Is
it
it
to
better
your
if I
needs
call
as
in?
well. But that was an issue that just came up that we definitely need you guys to talk about, and not just us if it's better to call in.
Oh,
You can call.
You there? Yeah. You guys hear him? Okay. Matt, I'm gonna stop talking and you can go, which is gonna take 5 minutes to tell him that.
okay, Matt.
Can you guys hear me?
Hold on one sec. We're getting you there.
Try again.
Yeah.
Myself muted on Zoom now, so hopefully we're not gonna.
No. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we're good.
So, it really depends. The last question I remember before, all this is, cost for review. It really depends. Yeah.
So for this month's 15 pages, you're talking $100. Yeah. Well, and if it stays in Word or even PDF,
Like, for example, last month we had Molden and Jenkins financial statement. So that has to be remediated.
in the audit.
My name is Archie, complicated, it's I spend cell phone, that's actually very simple. So. Actually, the other app is just simple. But, the cables are not, I think.
So just some rough back, back of the envelope math. Uh, Assuming just a 15-page normal reading package, it's about $2,520. You could just for anything.
I just,
That's just some rough back of the math and math. It's roughly $2,520 a year for 15 page normal meeting package.
If you had Matt do all of it.
Yeah.
Now Rosanna will be able to do a great deal of it. And then comes the question, do you want to make it procedure that you ask your vendors to provide already accessible documents?
Seeing many other communities I'm very sensitive to friends to do. Right, it's, it's not a good one. English, become a language to that here, in the centers, when we want to.
So can we post the agenda and packets after the meetings? Can we, I mean, it looks like other. Like the TPO posts just the agenda in advance, they post the packet after.
I'm sorry,
Legally, if you were, if it's legally, of course you can do that. Those are just available documents. But does OPA want to pay for, if we have, for example, the packet for this meeting is 15 pages, but we've had packets with hundreds of pages. And that's going to increase the cost exponentially. Do you want to provide, those documents are always available at public records, right? But do you want to provide them, pay for the remediation of those?
Why can't we make them available upon request?
That's what they are now. Yeah,
I mean, that's.
you absolutely can't.
Rather than just giving it to them, because let's go back and really think about how many people visit that website.
Right.
Okay, that narrows it down to almost new, okay? So we'll proceed the way that we have in the past. If they want a copy of it, we'll be more than happy to give it to them. Okay.
Matt, can you reiterate what we talked about of why we said that it has to be done?
Yeah, so then. Sure. After actually.
So it has to be remediated in
Yeah. Nice, it's the water.
But there was something about current. Why we couldn't just do it on request, it was about current business.
Yes, yeah, so anything that's greater than these, because we just all covered, you know. Really means what's the use, was, in more grocery than not is. West, it's in water. Do
So maybe it's something that you'll want to research, Tammy, in more.
I mean, I understand the 189.069, which is the website requirements for special districts. I do understand that. And there is nothing in there that talks about documents, current business. It gives a list of the minimum requirements. So I don't know of the other laws that, Matt, that you're referring to. So maybe we can get on a call or something like that in the next couple of days and talk about that, because I'm not aware of any other statutes that would require anything other than the agenda. The agenda definitely is there, but the other documents, I don't know.
Okay.
That doesn't,
Yeah, no problem. I sent an email, maybe we're copied on it, but, we have that.
okay.
Yeah, everything about this is.
This way I can, I can make sure that the board here is fully advised, and so am I, but I'm not aware of the requirement, the agenda packets. I mean, we have in there, you end up getting all kinds of things, and it sounds like almost, well, there'll be a lot that won't necessarily meet that definition of current business or,
Right.
So
I think this is an accessibility specific law, so we'll make sure you get that email and
absolutely.
table the decision until the next
It was forwarded to the board
meeting.
meeting. Everybody
It
was
was.
forwarded,
I assumed it was.
I
Because I know you.
We want to make sure that we're in the guidelines of the law. But we don't want to
Right.
go with something that's gonna be redundant. Like I said, we have to look at the visitations to the website and consider that.
Mhm.
Tammy, if you
We'll get on.
get that and go back to the board, on our parameters. So that we don't,
yeah, and I asked, if we provide the meeting packet the next day of the meeting, is that considered archived? I don't know the period you're in.
There are 4 continuous letters, the other than that, continuous, partners. Check out, if you see what you do, the phrase or read through. The tools for sharing. And shows the documents. Yeah, well, it's really into one two great thing. After walking place. Okay.
I think, I think it's probably a good time to, take a look at the content, not just specific to this meeting, but, in general, the content of our meeting package. And we've, because we haven't been in many ways complying with the accessibility requirements, the meeting packages have been
Whatever.
if you think they need to be, it's probably being pared down to exactly what's necessary and required by law to do freedom.
And all the documents in the meeting packet are forwarded to the board prior to the meeting for review. So the board has copies of the contents.
yeah, I just don't want to get bogged down into this, knowing that it won't be used. I mean, if the law says we have to have a minimal requirement, then we will do that. But for the rest of it, we need to move on.
Fully understand.
Any other questions or concerns on that?
Anything else, Matt?
Let's wait a minute, this is about it.
We'll send you an invite for a meeting.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Anything else for me?
How would you have that?
It's time.
You were very nice.
I didn't have to have it yet, so.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the bylaws.
Oh, yes, I was gonna tell her at the meeting, but I was thinking of, getting rid of the bios for the commissioner, like this one. And just keeping the contact information for them and term dates, but just do away with the bio. I don't know, but it's up to the board. Keep it simple.
Anybody had a preference? Again, is it information that somebody's going to use, or do they really care what I buy? Okay. I mean, if you want them, speak up now.
Yeah, so she can go
Yeah.
ahead and do that part.
Does the picture need to be like a headshot? If it's making the picture smaller, how?
I have the pictures. I think she's just asking, and I think the reason she's asking is this is something that she will have to update when the board changes. It won't be hard, promise.
No, it won't.
It won't be hard.
But
It's just up to you guys if you want the info. I'll adjust the picture to the size of the area, so I'm not worried about that. But then going forward, what I'm doing next is adding the information. So yeah, if you guys don't want bio information on there, now's the time to tell me.
So there's one with this.
so keep the bio.
If you want my opinion, I would keep it.
Commissioners,
Keep the bio.
Okay, all right, I will. Thank you very much.
all right, thank you. Okay, moving on to item B, bad where. Let's hope we can get some updates so we can stretch our legs a little bit here. Mr. Madera, you have anything on that?
We're in, and Travis, speak up if you'd like, we are in possession of a demo permit. So, Big Top is, I was hoping they'd get back to us today, but it's looking like a May. To take the building down.
That you have a demo permit.
We have a demo permit. There's a lot of pushing and prodding the city, but we wanted to get it before this meeting.
So is there a different permit? The building is going to be disassembled and reassembled?
I don't, are you aware, is there two different permits if we were to take it down and put it back up, or is it
It's gonna have to be done. Yes, so that's.
two different permits? Yeah.
Because the emails that were forwarded to the board, there's a back and forth about what the plan is, and it was clear that the direction from the board was to relocate the building in a north-south configuration in that far upper right corner of the courthouse, right? And we've talked about that at multiple meetings,
Mhm.
but in the email communications, what I saw was a list of questions and alternatives and varying proposals being presented to the contractor saying, you know, we're pursuing it, but not really receiving clear direction for what they're doing. And then the response back to you is that you're trying to work on the board to change our minds about the location.
Yeah, I mean, I've made it very clear we're not going to construct the building in a north-south arrangement. Because I've laid out all the reasons, and like, I don't want this to get loud and everybody yell and everything, but I've just been very clear about that. And at the last meeting, at the conclusion of the agenda item, which is Fabric Warehouse, I said, okay, I'm just gonna take the building down, right? And I have notified FDOT as well. So we have a meeting with FDOT tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be brought up. We can talk about it. But that's where we are.
So we applied for a grant for roads.
I understand.
Funds are from public money.
Mhm.
And if you make the decision to take the building down and put it in storage, then the rent is paid. So again, this is another decision due to actions of the operator that will have financial consequences for you.
Yeah, but I mean, Commissioner Hill, I've made it very clear why I don't want to put it in that arrangement. I offered a different arrangement.
Or at the very beginning,
Okay.
and pursuant to which we applied for the grant application, right? We made this grant application based on the information presented at the public meeting, and the public has a right to know what we're doing because it's their money. Okay, and then
It's our funds as well. I mean,
and then the building was put in a different location.
absolutely, and that was a huge mistake.
appreciate that you say it's your funds, but the business of the Port of Fernandina is supported by revenue, which is public funds. And so if the revenue from the Port of Fernandina is used to fund projects, that also is public money. It is. Okay, so to say that somehow half of this isn't the public say is not appropriate.
Well, Commissioner Hill, what I meant to say was, when I say funds to relocate and fix this mistake, that's on us. That's what I was referring to.
Okay, so what more information are you waiting for in order to make a decision about where the building is going to be located?
I mean, I think we've talked about it in circles, is everybody's annoyed with. I mean,
Is the warehouse currently empty?
the warehouse is pretty close to emptied out.
It's abandoned building, yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
Craig Oswald Roadster is about to go up for sale.
Okay, so how full is it?
A tenth.
Okay, and has it been full at any point since it's been constructed?
Oh, yeah.
And multiple times I've been there when you text on it.
It's been with what?
With hardboard.
You could text cargo from Brazil.
Okay, and is the building needed for port operations?
Sure. I mean, cargo flows work in cycles, right? Container rates will shoot up soon, just like every other cycle, and we'll need the space. But, I've stated multiple times why we cannot construct in the north-south arrangement. I've offered an alternative, and
You said the building was too long, and our response was that the buildings are modular, it's what the proposal said for Big Top. So the building is modular, it can be moved, the size can be adjusted. So what is the other, what other rationale is there?
well, isn't there a problem if we reduce the size of the building with that thought as well?
You don't know that.
I believe there would be a problem.
Tip by 10 feet.
Sorry, I forwarded a recommendation by Kyle Kaufman on Tuesday. And he said, reducing the square footage of the warehouse could be problematic, as it would also diminish the benefits provided to the port and the state.
Okay,
Well, I would point out that, no, similar problem.
so, I mean. Again, we have our meeting schedule, our meetings occur twice a month. And we have to have the information in front of us to make decisions. To move the business forward. And every meeting that we come to, we have. More discussion about this because. We have a clear decision and path forward and. You're making decisions that don't make any business sense, frankly.
I disagree, but
Okay.
When we purchased the fabric. We got the grant to purchase that where. The agreed upon configuration was north-south configuration.
I've looked at meeting minutes and I don't agree with that. So it was stated in the northwest portion of the port. I mean, northeast portion of the port. I pulled the meeting minutes.
The picture that we saw was two,
Right, yep. That was a non-stamped rendering.
And then the building was being constructed in the wrong location behind the blue house. They received text messages, phone call from the community because they had seen this same image with the two warehouses projected on the screen at the meeting. And they said, why is the warehouse going up behind the blue house?
Which is a terrible mistake.
This is from Savage.
I think the crux of the problem, at least as far as I've been able to find out, is the sort document that was able to find from way back the predecessor that talks about two fabric warehouses, 22,000 square feet.
Mhm.
That's 11,000 square feet per fabric range. What we got is one fabric range at 22,000 square feet.
Yeah, respectfully, this board voted and approved the RFP, which specified the larger warehouse.
So what I'm talking about is when the change was made. Obviously, there wasn't any word there. It seemed like there was a lack of communication there in the shop, about whether it was two warehouses totaling 22,000 square feet or one warehouse totaling 22,000 square feet. I can't.
But
What the board, the sentiment was at the time, I don't believe sentiment, and it talks specifically about purchase of one, and option to purchase a second. I don't believe that the sentiment board at that time was to purchase 22,000 square foot warehouses.
Right, but respectfully, Commissioner, you know well that the operator cannot issue an RFP without this board's approval. And if you go look at the RFP, it was for the exact size building that's at the port now.
I have it up there.
Yes, with an option for the purchase of a second warehouse, the same design and specification.
So that's OPA's part, and attached is Savage's part.
But see there, it's got two 22,000, you do the math, it's 22,000 roughly square feet. So that specifically says two. You look at the drawing and you look at what's out there. And clearly there was a disconnect between what the drawing envisioned, which is what the commission was operating, and what was actually purchased. So clearly there's.
Yeah, I'm not following your logic because that says 22,000 square foot. That's what we have. We have a 22,000. We have one.
But what it shows when two small warehouses that are the same size as what is built. The very first ones. Two that are the size of the first warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a good. This is not a good representation of. This isn't even close to scale what's in the actual RFP, which I admit is not.
And that's from Savage.
What date is this?
So the favorite warehouse, I believe the grant was filed back when Gucci was still involved, and then it was just picked up by Savage as one of the first things they did when they took over, I believe. But
September 18th, 2023. Do you want to see Mr. Kaufman's report on that? Okay, let me.
See, clearly the drawing was provided to us, by Sabat does not conflate to what was actually purchased.
sorry.
The drawing, which shows the two fabric warehouses.
Mhm.
Look, and the orientation and all the characters and the south orientation.
But it's not even
Not-
close to
not-
scale.
Do not conflict to what was actually purchased.
Right, but it's just it's a bad document all around because the text of the document and the graphic clearly are way out of whack. And I fully admit that, right? Like I wasn't around and you weren't around, but like, yeah, I mean, you could glance at it and say it's in error, right? Which is misleading, but I don't think Savage willfully try to mislead the sport or the public. Like, I don't know why they would.
Well,
I called him
I'm
and
not
said it's going up in the wrong location, and I said, you don't have authorization to put it there. And I said,
Did it anyway.
proceeding at your own risk. And he said, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, yeah, daring us to do anything about it. So,
Commissioners, I hear what you're saying, but I also have to look at this. How did that building get put where it is right now? Was it because they realized that in setting that up, where we voted for it to go was gonna be an issue? So let's just not say anything and move it down on the point once they get it up. If somebody's got a better description of what happened, let me hear.
I think that's exactly what.
no, I mean, there were members of the neighborhood that were upset about the building blocking their view, big white building. And so those members of the neighborhood were like, oh, blue house blocks the view. They talked with your predecessor and, you know,
Greg?
Greg and,
Oh. Okay.
and they were trying to be, you know, amenable to these members of the neighborhood. Well, now they're locating it behind other members of the neighborhood's home. And they're doing it without his approval.
I agree.
And so they changed the location, and then the neighbors that were most impacted were upset. The neighbors that were less impacted were quiet, right? But at the bottom line, it wasn't where OHPA approved it, and it's a public building in our court, right? So that's not how you do public business. It's a process. Has to follow public process, and it's not, that isn't followed. So if there's an issue with the building, they should have notified us and said, there's an issue, locating it where it is, it doesn't fit. Or,
I agree.
you know, this doesn't work.
Commissioner, I couldn't agree more.
You send it a public meeting, and then the board could approve the new location.
I couldn't agree
Then
more.
they said, and let's see how it goes. It's real nice.
Well, the comment, we're gonna take it down and I'm not gonna pick it back up, is not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, I think what's guiding this and driving it is what you said at the last meeting. And I totally agree with you. And your comment was this: there's a whole lot of distrust in this room. And when you said that, I totally agree with you. There is a lot of distrust. And until we can sit down and get things worked out, this is only going to get worse. Because as far as this commissioner goes, that court deserves better. Because I put 12 years on those docks out there, and it deserves a lot. And it can be a lot better. It's the best secret on the East Coast. And I don't understand why it takes so much. If a mistake is made, which it has been, to get it rectified, put the building up in the northeast corner, where it should be. But taking it down and not reconstructing it is not an option. And I say that, and I will do everything in this commissioner's power to stop it. And we're having an open conversation. Whatever that may be, we'll have to deal with it as we come. Commissioners have to say, but it's not an option, because what we're doing is we're losing face with every agency that we rely on for assistance. Now we'll go back to FDOT and tell them, big mistake, wasn't in the right place. Now we got to tear it down and move it. Kyle was very gracious in answering it the way he did. I don't think I would have been that gracious. We have to hit this head on. We can't just say, well, we're going to take it down, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. If taken down and not put back up, it will never be put back up.
In your opinion.
No, because there's another building out there that went down in a storm, and you know what? It was put in a dumpster. It should have been re-erected. That welding shop should have been put back, but it wasn't. And that's a problem. Because that was an asset that I'm sure that somewhere along the line, we had insurance that would have taken care of that. But you know what? What addressed it was just thrown in the dumpster. So that's not gonna happen this. So commissioners, you need to look. Because I said, I know where this is going. I hate that it's going that way because Commissioner Moore, you said it. We have leverage. It's not a good leverage, but it's leverage. And you know what? I'm not opposed to using it. And then we have to just deal with it as it comes. If you've got comments, now's the time to speak them.
Well, I would also note that, this isn't this is just the latest. Application. We did approve the previous location. Based on the input from.
Right, and I explained myself why we don't think that works. Things change, and it's,
Things do change, but we approved the location that is not.
yeah, I mean, just because I changed my opinion, there's no reason to like villainize me. Like, I'll just say that, like, it's humans.
We're not villainizing you.
It feels like you, yeah.
And I have the distrust is stifled.
Okay, we can move on.
Okay, we can move on. But I want it made clear from this commissioner that taking that building down and not reconstructing it in a suitable where it should be position is unacceptable. Period.
Okay, I hear you.
I hope that with that being said, we can work this out, but I have my doubts.
Okay,
I have my
what's the direction to withdraw the demo permit then, if it's gonna be demolished and not reconstructed?
You have to have a demo permit to take it down, one way or another. So, I mean, I would,
The city has made it very clear, I think to their good graces and goals to work with us, they and find the dollars. But they certainly could. So the longer we leave it where it's at, the more there is the potential that they will do that. So I think we move forward with the demo permit with the understanding that it's going back up.
Go ahead.
The permit says in the description, disassembly of 100 by 220 big top canvas work. So it doesn't, it's not saying go back up, but you know, we got this. This is what it says we're going to do. This is what we need to do. Now, if we can't exactly decide where that location is without going to it, can you pull that screen down just a little bit for me? There you go. All right, that, and you admit that is not to scale.
Yeah.
Correct. That is nowhere.
so you can eyeball that and say it's not scale.
And I've seen one, I don't know where it came to you or where it came from, but it sure, yeah, so the tents all running up to the property lines, and there was none, anything around it. I've seen that one somewhere.
Yeah.
But that one clearly shows there's quite a bit of space here on this end and quite a bit of space on the other. Now, I don't know that those were specifically the two locations that we voted on, you know, but you know, we need to come to where that needs to be. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm willing with what, you know, what's best for you as the operator. worth penalties. But if it's not gonna go there, and you gotta put it up, you gotta put it back in some.
Okay.
My point is this, there was some reason why it came out of the blue. You know, we get phone calls that it's going up in a place that it shouldn't be. That's, to me, is disturbing. And I will agree, because I got the phone call, I got the word that Commissioner Hill, as the chairwoman at that time, did call Greg and tell him, you need to cease this, and if you go any further, all expenses are on you. So that was made clear. Now we're here, a couple years later, and we're still talking about why it happened. To me, it's,
Well, we need to take some action. Action here is, you got a permit. This is December. I said, this is simple.
well, it's gonna be a limited amount of time from the time they take it down to when it goes back up. Now, if I'm understanding correctly, you only have a permit to take it down, not to construct it. That to me is a problem. That's a red flag. Has there been any addressing the reconstruct permit? Putting it back up?
It was original. All we wanted to do after last week was get it down, and that's what I did, that was the fastest way to do it. So there are actually two permits involved, there's the deconstruction and then the re-erecting. Originally. Yeah. So it actually is two, two permits.
It has to go through DRC.
Ma'am?
It has to go through approvals. It has to go through development.
That is correct. There were delays there as well, obviously, for multiple reasons, and we're discussing now. But the quickest way to try to make the board and the community happy is take it down immediately.
And to avoid fines.
It's not to make the community happy. It's because you don't have a CO.
And I understand that too. I do.
It's an unpermitted structure. So do you still have the blue house up for sale?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, you can't sell that with a friction structure in the right of way.
Mhm.
For the setback.
Well, we know there's no issue from FDOT of taking it down and reconstructing it in another location.
No, in fact, that's what they want. I've spoken to FDOT about this.
They have sent the link, and we have that, right? There's no issue. The issue is taking it down, and not putting it back up creates another problem.
So are you in the process of applying for the reconstruction permit? Did you get any sort of safety analysis as to back up your claims that it couldn't go where you want it to go?
So I'm confused. It's confusing to know what the direction is. Like I can get that for you, but the meeting went round, we went round and round in this, and then at the end, it was just, y'all were sort of like, you got to do it north to south. That's it. And then I said, well, we disagree. I'm gonna get the demo permit to take it down. Disassemble.
But that, putting that fabric warehouse in a location was set before it was moved to its current location. At the total ignoring that from Saturday. Now we're saying as the board, put it back where it should have been, and we're meeting with resistance. That to me is disturbing. I mean, it's either put it back where it is. Now, I understand that the pushing be, oh, we'll just leave it where it's at, because that saves you the cost of taking it down.
I don't wanna leave it where it's at. It's not my,
That was the workplace on the whole.
So you sent us an email, February 26th. We found your lawyer, John Stair. We sent it to Rosanna, which circulated to the board, as a picture of the warehouse in the south configuration. So I think you really do understand what we're talking about, because you came up with this rendering. And it's not all the way to the south side, like the building is I mean, 10 feet back from the fence, which is probably appropriate. There's still room more than the building to get in and out. It looks like there's 20 feet there on both sides. So, I mean, it seems to me that you do know exactly what we're talking about, because you did this whole rendering and you emailed it to all of us, and yet you then
right, saying why that doesn't work.
say, "I don't understand. I'm not,
Well, I'm not following your logic.
you did this rendering.
Right, not in a proposed manner to show you why it doesn't work. The ingress and egress for the main doors don't.
This board, you know, the specificity you need with it, stamped renderings from an engineer, you need. Schematics and with the elevations, right? Like the full packet, the building department will tell you all the things you need to present for a permit. So what are you missing?
I'm so confused right now. What are you actually?
Processing it because you don't want to hear what we're telling you. What we're telling you is, we want the building right here.
And I'm listed,
Do we need to make a resolution? No, again,
go for it. I mean, if that's what you feel like you need to do.
You know what? I don't want to be challenged. Uh, that in a public forum.
I agree.
We're in charge by the charter of the state of Florida to oversee it. And that's what we're doing. I mean, we can't sit here and just allow an operator to do whatever they want to do. We have to go by the rules, and we had a vote that says it will go north-south. What are you going behind it? If you, I know what you want to do. You want to run trucks in and through and out. And it's hard for me to even entertain that, because you're going to be losing so much maneuverability inside. I know people shaking their heads and all, but it don't make sense to me. It does not make sense. If it made even the littlest bit of sense, I will try my best to understand.
So let me ask you a question. When you have a fire in this building, right? How are people gonna get out with 20 foot of ingress and egress in the main doors, right? If somebody's trapped on the backside of it, where are they gonna go? They're gonna run in the marsh to get away from the fire? Like, how is a fire truck going to get in this building if there is an emergency?
Tell you, fire truck is driving in that building. I'm gonna tell you that, number one. Number two, as I told Travis, I made a couple of attempts to get a hold of Jason. In the meantime, Rosanna sent him the same questions that I wanted to ask. It sounds to me like, and I'll be more than happy to give you a copy of the letter, that when the conversation was had about that, nobody mentioned to the fire department that that warehouse would be sitting there more than 100 years. Because I could not figure out why now they want fire suppression in it, and the one that's been sitting there years didn't have to have it until he answered the letter. Because he was actually there. He was on site when they were talking about it. They led him to believe that it was temporary.
Who?
And to me,
Savage? I'm just
I'm
asking.
sure we can find out who was in that meeting. Okay, that's not. But my point is, because I told Travis, I'll find out why one's gotta have it, the other one hasn't been addressed yet. It's because anything less than 180 days is temporary. Anything over 180 days is considered permanent and has to have fire suppression. I done what I told you, Travis. There's your answer. 180 days. So now we got two issues. That fabric warehouse needs to go in the northeast corner. I mean, if we can't come to some agreement, then we're gonna have to go to the next level, and I think that's where the level comes in. We're at that point, and I thought we'd never get to that. I never thought we'd get there, but we're at that. So, Travis, I want to ask you a question. Has anybody measured point to point? 274 from 254, 274 from the south berm where the hill stops to the concrete on the north end, 274 feet. Probably managed 275 between the dirt out. Okay, you got 25 feet between the two ends. And you got 20 from end to end on the dirt. I've walked that thing, I can't tell you how many times a week. Okay, so that's going to be approximately 27 feet. Yes, sir. And your contention is to run truck through that warehouse. That is what I want to do. And again, I've said to the board, I know you have 44 years. I got 30. We both know a stevedore. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat. This is what I see as the best option. And also, when it comes to safety, I can tell you I've seen 4 fatalities on the waterfront. Last one was about 3 years ago at Glen Island. Nobody in this room can see what I've seen in fire trucks through building warehouses. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm thinking about what I have seen in the past, and it ruins people's lives and their memories. The best thing to do for me, operation, running that operation for you, is run it east to west. That's my opinion, and that's what my intent was. Commissioners, I'm gonna say this, you got 27 feet on each end between the chain link fences and that berm that goes up to the blue house.
Does anybody even ask the fire marshal if that's sufficient? No fire marshal can say this, and I've talked to the fire marshal about it, that's right.
So when the plans were submitted for development review, the entire city like has to sign off, right? Like every department. And they're not gonna let me put it in its setback, they're not gonna put it, like where it is now, in the setback. And so, I can't imagine why a fire truck would drive inside of a burning fabric warehouse. And we've had so many different operators that have different theories of how to run the board. And when we listen to individual operators' theories of how to run the board that don't make sense to OHPA, then when those operators are gone, we're left with whatever they did to support their theory. And then we get a new operator who has a totally different theory. And then we have to fix the things that didn't make sense because we're left with the buildings where we are. And we don't have evidence to support your claims, right? And none of that is being presented today. So all we have is, our hunches and our sense, and then your statements, which you're not bringing any new information to us today, although this is what the 4th meeting in topic. And so I would ask that you apply for a permit to reconstruct the warehouse in the original location, which you can refer to Ted's email for that location because he did a rendering.
I didn't make that rendering in support of that, but okay.
Well, when you apply for a permit, there will be engineered stamp drawings that show the exact location, the elevations of the location. And that's, again, the information that this board would need in order to approve the location, which I think I reiterated every single time this was. So I'd like to make a motion that, direct the operator to apply for the reconstruction permit in that original location. And I think this might be, perhaps the third time, but.
I said, explain that motion again.
That the operator would apply for a reconstruction or construction permit for the warehouse. In the original location. And just for a discussion, Chair. I very much agree with your statements that the warehouse does not need to be demolished and put in storage. As was suggested in that meeting. That might be the cheaper course of action to like set it run.
I'm not trying to pinch pennies, and I don't want to tear the warehouse down and not build it.
If the warehouse does get from the property, we need to know where it is. It needs to be kept safe. That is public property. And
I
so
agree.
wherever that, if there is removal of the warehouse, we need to know where it's going. But I would propose that we vote on this motion to reconstruct the building so there isn't a gap. Usage.
The motion says original location. Do you want to be more specific for the record? I mean, I know it's here, like the northeast corner of the Port of Fernandina, but operating the operational portion of it, something like that. So, if somebody reads it, they realize that they're looking at pictures where
So I just referenced the email, but I closed that window from Ted at the warehouse location. So I don't have the date of the email to reference for the motion.
That we put it back originally
that's what the motion.
for one. We had a motion and a second. We gotta open this for discussion. Yeah, we at that point.
Well, I think she wanted to have a discussion. That's what you.
I'm not asking for a vote. I'm just saying that we're in the discussion.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
But
She's looking up something.
but the board voted to put it back in the original. He said it was the original location, and I'm on the exact original location. If that shows, 10 feet to the top and 30 feet down to the bottom, and then you're rendering that you referred to on the 14th, I think it was February, shows it almost buttered up to each entrance with no space around it at all. So I'm confused as to where we're at.
And I don't think any of them are a engineered draft of it. I think that was just, here's where it needs to go. That's the reason I clarified with him that there had been a stretch measure going across there. He's saying that it's 274 feet. Okay, you got 220, so that's 54 feet, 27 feet on each end.
But, yeah, our vote was to be returned to the original location. That it be put back up with the location. That's what we all voted. And I voted in that also, but I just want to be clear that we saw original location, I talk. Something that will.
The picture that's up there now, Commissioner Poole and Commissioner, is that I would describe it as the furthest northeast corner of the Port of Fernandina, the operational area, in a north-south configuration lengthwise.
She actually has the vendor.
So it's an email that's dated Thursday, February 26th at 9:13.
And that shows the location.
It's me drawing a square to scale, describing why that orientation is a bad idea.
Well, they're saying they like it, so they can vote and say they like it, I mean.
I'm saying for being there, that's where it was planned to go. And then, as I described in my conversation earlier, then it was moved mysteriously out of that and erected at the point that it is right now. Something transpired between A and B, and the things that Travis has brought to this commission on the reasons why were never mentioned prior to him coming and saying, this is my reason. Savage never had a reason. They just didn't. And to me, that's problematic. Shouldn't have happened without this board being addressed. He addressed this board saying, this is my choice. This is why I put it there. For whatever his reason. He does have experience in it. Trust me, he knows what he's doing. But it's not where this board said it needs to be, because it was thoroughly looked at. It was thoroughly discussed in the committee meetings, and it was voted on. This is why I say you just can't throw this stuff to the wind, because it sets precedents for what's going to happen in the future. We need to go back and correct what was done. Now, I know that there was an email, and I'll do my best to find it, where it showed that fabric warehouse in the northeast corner, north and south. It was outlined in red, and in the middle, it stamped approved. Now, that's the original. We need to locate it. And I'm going to do my best to go back and find it, because I think that would solve a lot of problems.
And that's why I said I brought attention to, the meeting from the meeting. They're drawing, continuing their own. From 8/31 to 2022. From R&M Engineering Consultants. From for Savage, prepared for Savage. That shows 2 side-by-side 22,000 square foot warehouses.
That, what's up there right now?
That's in it now. It was
It's in red.
They were east-west. They were facing east-west.
North south. Look at this, it's over 25 feet on the chip. What is the not chip?
Well,
27. But this is a engineer's drawing.
No, that is not an engineer. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's no stamp on that drawing. That's just somebody at Savage put red lines on a map.
see, well, no, it's R&M Engineering Consultants.
It's not stamped.
It's not stamped.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. That's got a piece of the wrong.
It is page 20 or 73 of the meeting package from last meeting.
March 11, 2026. I just think rather than use the term original locations, that it would be good to be very specific.
Okay, so I was gonna amend my motion to be the right hand or easterly web box on this rendering. On the 237-C-01 revised A
From the March 11th, 2026 meeting.
from the March 11th courses of meeting. So revised. Do you amend your second?
Yes.
Okay, we're clear on the motion. And
Ted, can I ask a question for them? Were you looking at that picture?
This picture,
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Does that, would that not, completely not work for you, completely not work for you? Or is it, I'm saying,
it doesn't. I've stated this numerous times. So the main points of ingress and egress for the warehouse are on the end. Those are where the big doors are. All right. So if you have a warehouse like this, what does it do? Like, you're gonna have a lot of blind spots, right? For forklifts to go in and out. Trucks are a no-go. There's not enough clearance. There is a side door. That is true, but it is much smaller than the indoors, right? So we're handling bundled lumber, bundled plywood, tall items where the forklift mast would go up and could hit it, right? Another reason, let's just say you oriented the building in the far right red box. To get to that building, now forklifts or trucks have to transit through where we do all of Summers Isles containers. There's nowhere else to put them because the port floods now. So what happens there, right? You have container stacks that are up to 4 high, and what operates in container stacks? Mobile container handlers. We have 3 of them. So it's all top lifters or reach stackers, right? They have blind spots. So we have smaller vehicles, forklifts or terminal trucks operating, going to and from the warehouse in areas where container handlers are also operating. It creates a risk point. And as I said before, let's say you were in the far right box and you had a fire or something else. How is a person supposed to reasonably get out of it? They're gonna have to run in the marsh, in my opinion, right? So, but I've stated this before, and you know, I don't want to hold up the meeting any further, but you asked, so. Thank you.
Okay, are we clear on the motion? Rosanna, you got the motion?
Yes.
Okay. I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Move on to C. Renegotiation of operating agreement. Commissioners, you got a letter this afternoon, on that subject matter, rejecting, their, philosophy to hold off and let's just wait and see. So Tammy, would you like to
Yeah,
expound on that a little bit?
definitely can. And I spoke with Don Lassier, the operator's attorney, and we spoke a couple of times today. So when I reviewed the indenture and loan agreement, I think that the language allows us to at least try to negotiate. However, I concede that in reading those, at least we would have to notify the trustee that we were seeking to make changes to the agreement. So in a follow-up phone call after receiving that letter, Mr. Lassier and I spoke about, and he sent me an email this evening, that he, again, still disagrees with my interpretation. And he says that the trustee and the bondholders would have to consent to amendments, and he calls them self-executing amendments. Anyway, it's complicated contractual language, but we are in disagreement about whether we can amend the agreement with, without the trustee and the bondholders consent to amend. But in discussing it, the one point that I can't disagree with is Mr. Lassier pointed out that even if the trustee and the bondholders, if their consent is required, the very first question that they're going to ask is, does the operator agree? Like, do both parties agree to these changes? And if the operator says they do not agree, the trustee and bondholders would get it to do for OHPA to unilaterally amend the contract. So we're in the same place we were. the operator just is not interested in making changes to the agreement, at least at this time, until after we hear from the appeals court.
Well, that doesn't put us in a very good light. And they're playing Russian roulette. If they get a favorable, judgment, then that's one thing. But if the court upholds the ruling, then that means the, property taxes are due.
Now, one thing we did talk about further, and this is just getting into, as Mr. Lucier gets into the case, and he did a little bit of research with regard to how other ports are taxed and their leases and their other, properties. So it was very interesting, and I think we should pursue this. I asked Mr. Lucier to call Derek Bruce, our counsel at Gunster, for the property appraiser lawsuits, and that is that currently the property appraiser is taxing both the land and the improvements. They are valued separately, but they're both being taxed. And John has discovered, and we just need to dig into this some more, that other ports, and he indicated that even at our airport, that the land is not taxed, but the improvements are. And if that is the case, if the property appraiser would agree that that's the proper approach, because we're not leasing the property, right? If that would significantly reduce. So for example, the land, this is just ballpark, the land is worth $22 million. The improvements are worth $3 million. So right now, let's say it's valued at 26 million. That's the taxable value that the property appraiser is using to assess the taxes. But if it was only 3 million, you could do that would significantly reduce. And I think that's an interesting point. So
Is there an appeal process that has to be done to the tax collector?
That's already
That's
already been done. That with the value adjustment board. But I think it's really probably just a matter of the attorneys getting together to discuss it and look at this, because at worst, if we lose the appeal or withdraw it, and there is tax liability, what is it going to be? I think is important and worthy of a discussion with Kevin Little. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't change anything about OHPA and the operator are not going to be at the negotiating table at this time.
It's a convenient interpretation of the indenture that the consent is required, that they're going to enforce to the letter the indenture. The indenture also requires that OHPA have advance notice of a sale, which occurred, and we got no notice. I mean, it's laughable to me that they're interpreting this to the letter in their favor at every juncture.
So I think I've said this before, I disagree with your Russian roulette comment. I mean, yeah, today the port owes X amount of dollars. Those dollars, if that's needed, are coming from port revenues. 2 years from now, if you lose the case, those dollars are coming from port revenues. I mean, there's nowhere else it's coming from. And therefore, and obviously the operator knows that. And so, again, I don't see the issue.
The revenue from the port supports the bond service as well as taxing.
Well, but it doesn't matter. Obviously, what's going to happen if we lose this case, man? The port goes bankrupt because the port can't afford it, right? So it doesn't matter, right? So renegotiating the port agreement doesn't matter. If you lose this case and the port revenues can't afford the payment, of property taxes, then the court shuts down. I mean, I don't understand the issue of, again, right now you're over $3 million to whatever, it's 2 point whatever $1 million. Doesn't matter. If you shut down the case, you still owe $3 million today. Where's that money going to come from? Same place it's going to come from in 2 years.
I'm not sure what your point is.
My point is, I don't see the need to that this whole case is driving the need to renegotiate the operating.
Well, the bottom line is,
contract.
it's just not gonna go away. The state,
But it doesn't
they
matter.
have secrecy of.
Well, it's not so,
Not our council.
you know, I'm not saying, council, I'm talking about monetary, I'm your financial advisor. Right, where,
Been in what kind of shape since we entered into this operating agreement? How much have we spent on legal fees since we entered into this operating agreement? Is that good use of public money that we spend
but that's your
hundreds
choice.
of thousands of dollars?
That's how you deal with this option. This council's, this board's decision of how they're gonna stop. Everything is a legal issue. Okay,
This operating agreement, we were at that meeting.
Yeah.
Meetings reflect that the board wanted the ability to terminate the agreement, which is a standard clause in public works agreements.
don't ask someone, or you don't ask someone to make $10 million investment. And say you can terminate the deal.
If it's terminated, Oakland would have to take on the debt just like it was before.
What are you talking about?
That's what the indenture says.
The
Yes.
indenture said, the indenture, which.
It follows.
Follows the operating agreement.
Yeah.
Follow, hopefully it's better responsible. Hopefully the conduit issuer of these bonds.
Let me,
There's never,
At that meeting, we wanted the ability, this board wanted the ability, I wasn't on the board at the time, but the board wanted the ability to enforce the terms of the operating agreement and to terminate if there were issues. And the response was, no, you don't need that clause, even though that's standard in public contracts, because if there's an issue, you can take us to court. That's the recourse.
again,
And that's been the way the board was dealt with it since that time.
let me just say this. We need to, we're not gonna get anywhere with that.
Not helpful.
No,
Mr.
but
Chair,
this is going to be a problem. That this
It's
is
definitely-
going to have to deal with,
It's definitely a problem.
okay?
I do want to say this. Yes, OPA has been disappointed with, this board has been disappointed with the operating agreement basically since in 2018 was signed. And certainly these successive commissioners, but it was not, we did not bring up renegotiating, amending the operating agreement and just pull that out of the air. There was a press release from the property appraiser that talked about the operating agreement, which is why we brought it right here in public for discussion and got really serious about it. We're not using I have not seen this board proceeding as the lawsuit, the appeal or whatever is a guise for amending the operating agreement. We have not hid the fact that we don't like the terms. We think it's extremely one-sided. And so, but the property appraiser, who so far has won in the trial court, and we're appealing, has said the operating agreement needs to be changed. We don't know what parts of it. We haven't been told that, but that's why the board, as I understand it, took on this second amendment and wanted to, in good faith, have a chat with the operator and see what things we can change. I knew all along that the trustee was going to have to be involved with some of the operating agreement, also called the operating contract, is part of the collateral documents and part of the borrower documents as they're defined. So.
It's going to have to be addressed head on. Or the end results will be receivership. That's, I don't see it going anywhere. I mean, it's a bad deal, we all know that. And I think this board, since I've been on it, has tried to put the best foot forward, negotiate in good faith, and try to salvage what was a bad deal to start. And we'll just have to continue to pursue it, and hopefully it won't take 2 years for the appeals court to come back and let us know yay or nay. So with that being said, I'd like to move on to our next item.
Chair.
Maintenance strategy,
Chair,
Commissioner Cole, excuse me.
just to confirm, the board's direction is to continue renegotiating the operating agreement.
I think that the attorney's advice is really not gonna do us any good to spin our wheels.
We can't negotiate with ourselves. So I guess what my information was tonight is that the latest information is that the operator does not want to renegotiate the agreement while the appeal is pending. Does not have interest in doing that.
Commissioner, do you see it going any other direction? I think we keep putting it on the agenda, we come here and we run into the wall. If they're not willing to, let the record show that this board made an all-out attempt to try to salvage something that we all know is a bad deal. Okay, that's, I won't make that public. It's a bad deal. We're trying to do what we can, but there's legal bounds that keep us from doing that. We have an operator that's not willing. But yet when it comes to something the board, they want from the board, they expect us to be willing. So I could consider that.
Well, our options are laid out in our contract that we have the ability to issue an RFP for the contract that we want. And the operator has the option to have, right of first refusal to meet any competing bid.
Commissioner, is that the way you want to go?
I don't see this how we go. I mean, we've tried to renegotiate. We've taken the statements after the trial court decision, from the permanent appraiser, that was wrong with the current operating agreement. We looked at the trial court's decision, and maybe we'll write it down the line with what the permanent appraiser said. They lay out what needs to be done. And it starts with renegotiating the operating. And it stands right now.
They didn't lay out any, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, like, and I really shouldn't get involved here, but the tax appraiser never laid out any specifics.
The trial court laid out very specific, but the decision was made.
Right, which we disagree with jointly and we're appealing jointly.
Well, we certainly disagree. But
Have you talked to Kevin Lilly?
have I talked with him?
Okay.
Yeah, the things that are laid out in my draft amendment, which Tammy's weighed in on, and we've gone back and forth, they track some of those concerns in the order that really are just clarifications of things that are not specifically stated in the agreement. So there is an exclusivity provision in the operating agreement, which serves to tell the operator, you are the only cargo handling contractor under this agreement, and you are the only cargo handling contractor, you have exclusive rights. The Fed interpreted that to mean that we could be excluded from the property. And so point one is just access to port business, records and facilities. That we have knowledge of what's going on in the port, that it's public business. These are all issues that have come up with multiple litigation contexts in court since this operating agreement has been our operating agreement, whether it was the prior operator, WTF, or real terminals. This seems to keep coming up. So points 1 and 2 are a little clarification of that. Consulting on new business is already in the operating agreement, but just to be absolutely clear, this says that you have to come to an agreement about new business, and that additional that new business would be discussed with commissioners without the requirement of NDAs. The individual commissioners could talk with you without having to enter into an individual contract. Revenue share is also covered in the agreement. It's just clarifying language. And then number 5 is control board residents. I think that is a net jump, but it aligns with the charter requirement. And so I think it's our obligation to ask for that. And that has been a pain point for OPA, and that did come up with depositions. Chair Nelson was asked by council how much say we have in the operations of the board, and he's asked how much control we have over revenues. And he described the day-to-day and how we submit invoices, and all of that was incorporated part of the order. And that's an issue that's going to come up later in the meeting, is our invoicing problem when we submit invoices and they don't get paid. 6.1 is to address that issue, because it gives us the control of the revenues. I think it's the crux of all of our issues since we have this operating agreement put in place. And then 8.2 is a Scrivener's error. So anyway, you'll read it. I mean, I think we should present it. And I think we should, give your lawyer one last chance to look at these points and respond to that. But if not, I think we should issue RFP.
So just to be clear,
That's the responsible course when your public board that has control of your public facilities and wants to be able to control them and operate them in public purview. And what we have doesn't meet that. And so it's our obligation to not wait until our charter is revoked and the board is insolvent or in receivership. It's our job to take actions that sometimes are not, fun. I mean, this is not, I think it's a lot easier for the board just to ignore this and move on to the next agenda item, frankly.
And so Mr. Lucier requested that at least, I didn't know that there would, or I think there would be action necessarily taken tonight, but at our next meeting in 2 weeks, or our next meeting, he asked that he be given the opportunity to, because he just recently got the second for that, to be able to go through it, and I'll have further conversations with him.
Okay, any further discussion?
But this should be really at the request of Mr. Lazier, at least on the next agenda, so that if he does have a response or he has any other thoughts that.
So I'm just thinking about the next agenda. This item will go on the next agenda again with Commissioner Hill's documentation.
And can we ask for response back before the meeting? So
Yes. Yes, I will respond to his email this evening and say, please prepare a response.
So Commissioner Hill, this draft is the final draft. Because this is draft 5.
yeah, so this draft, I mean, each
Is that the one that was in the last packet, the March 11th packet?
No.
Okay.
What we just got today,
Okay.
forget the times tonight.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't get a copy of it.
and you did in your inbox. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. If you sent him something, it wasn't attached to your letter. There was no.
I attached the one from the last meeting because I was not aware.
And there's like 3 open items that were noted at the meeting that needed to be changed.
I don't mind going forward to listen to the job, but again, stress that I haven't voted on it.
All right, we'll put it on the next meeting agenda.
Okay.
With the appropriate documentation, and this will address it at that time. All right, moving forward, Mr. Cole, can you enlighten us
Has nothing. This time, I'm still working with you.
Yes, it is.
Phone call. Ready when you come there.
I'm sending it to you.
Below. But I just don't have anything to discuss at this point. Maybe by next meeting.
And I'm sending that to you right now because I haven't seen it either. It's not much different than what you have, but
It's this.
yes, it's that, but it's updated, what you're gonna get in your email. And
You got it. Thank you.
Well, that's the updated one.
yep, that's the most. The one in my email is going to you guys.
I think it's incumbent that, take a look at, all our available funds. We're required, by section 9 to do keep the dockside, dredging, through dredging, to keep it at the control of depth. So I would like to propose a resolution for discussion and voting. Which number did? Which number will we do?
I believe it's R04.
So the resolution 2026 R04 passed. A resolution of the Ocean Highland Port Authority of Nassau County, Florida, recognizing the authority's obligation for curbside depth maintenance, authorizing the earmarking of capital improvement maintenance reserve funds for necessary dredging, and providing the sunset provision. Whereas the Ocean Highland Port Authority, the authority is an independent special district of the state of Florida, responsible for the safety and efficient operation of the port gaming. Whereas the authority serves as the port authority for the port gaming. And whereas section 9 of the operating agreement currently in effect between the authority and the port operator explicitly provides that the maintenance of berth water depth for 38 feet is the sole obligation and responsibility of the port authority. Whereas the current sediment accumulation has reduced single water depth at mean low water below 30 feet, creating clear and immediate maintenance need to ensure the continued navigability and safety of the port berthing facility. Whereas dredging is recognized as recognizing essential maintenance activities required to fulfill the port authority contractual obligation under the operating agreement. Whereas the authority maintains the capital improvements and maintenance specifically reserve the maintenance and repairs of the essential port functions. Now therefore be resolved by the Ocean Highway Port Authority that one, recognition of obligation, the authority is formally acknowledged that pursuant to section 9 of the operating agreement, it is responsible for the maintenance of minimum water depth of 38 feet in mean level water alongside the berth for Fernandina. 2, direction to earmark funds. The authority hereby directs that all available funds within the CIMR fund be immediately earmarked and prioritized for the specific purpose of port dredging. 3, sunset provision. This resolution and specific earmark of the fee items on funds herein shall remain in full force and effect until completion of first side dredging project. This resolution shall automatically sunset and expire 60 calendar days from the day the maintenance dredging is officially certified as complete by the authority's project engineer. Effective date, if approved today. So that
Sorry, correction, that is 2026 R05, just to be on the record.
yes. So long and short, this takes the CIMR fund, what accumulates over until the dredging gets done, earmarks it for the maintenance dredging. Obviously, that's not going to cover the full amount, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And it fulfills our obligation under section 9 of the operating.
Do you know currently what the amount is? Do you know what the amount is in that fund?
The CIA.
Oh,
Not $1 million. No,
Yes,
it's not.
the left big pot, 75, yeah,
I think it's, I mean, like you say, it is a step in the right direction. Commissioners, what say you?
There it is.
Part of it, so I'd like to Be able to better. Okay. I don't want to tell you what I'm. No, it wasn't all that. Yeah.
All right,
And your mark when it's doesn't spent elsewhere, so you know where the funding gonna go. Yeah, to support whatever you find as far as federal grants, something like that, absolutely.
can you add that to the next meeting? And that way it'll give Commissioner Cole a chance to find out in his contact at the federal level.
So
And it's back.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah, man, that's great. So
Yes,
the spirit of the CIMR was for maintenance of port assets. Is that, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but
No.
it was not
Capital improvements.
capital improvements.
Because that CIMR stands for Capital Improvements and
Okay.
Maintenance Reserve Fund.
Okay,
So.
Okay.
And it doesn't, it's really say, it's, I mean, it's my interpretation, the agreement
is
is very
ambiguous.
confusing, but
Okay,
I
no,
do think that,
I'm just asking.
and, full disclosure, Vice Chair Moore sent this draft to me today. And so it is a valid resolution. That's what you wish to do, and I think you have the power to do that. I don't know if Pierre has had an opportunity to look at it or weigh in. This is about, the CMR, the CIMR fund. And this resolution does not affect the operator at all. This is an internal resolution, and the procedure is that CIMR fund would build up and not be used for anything except for maintenance structure.
Where's that? Where, you sent that out?
That he sent it, this is the resolution
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
reading right now.
Just grab it.
So the resolution provides,
Sorry.
yeah, you know, I think it's kind of important because you are, you know,
it was received yesterday. Sorry, it did not make it to the meeting packet.
yeah. So these are thoughts that Vice Chair Moore, before you vote on, you may want to make sure that Pierre gets his eyes on it. And looks at it, unless you know right now that you're fine with. They're basically restricting the use of the CIMR fund to pay for maintenance dredging only. And so, no, just for this next, we have to get this to 38 feet. And once that happens, of course, you know, we're looking for grant funding. We talked about that at the last. We've got to get this to 38 feet. Once that's done, 60 days after we meet the requirements of the 38 feet, the resolution expires and then the CIA and my fund is.
Obviously, I mean, the CI lot, what happens, that join in agreement with the board, so certainly, again, if we know how much we need, we're waiting for specific about. Well, obviously, the operator may, because they have their own maintenance requirements, but the question is, where else are the funds come from? Doesn't matter, either they're coming from this fund, or they're coming from the operator stuff out. So it's an act. Doesn't really matter. Don't we have no sources of funds? So then would it be appropriate to table the resolution till for the next meeting?
It depends on what the other commissioners think. I think Pierre was giving you the okay to do this for this purpose at this time. As long as the other commissioners feel fine, you can take actions now.
So I'll offer as background evidence that in 2021, we applied for an FDOT peer group wharf maintenance and maintenance dredging grant. It's contract G0L06, and the FSTID funds were 195,402, and nothing was ever invoiced on the grant. It was left to expire. The match was a 75 paid by the Department of Transportation, 25% will be the responsibility of the board, OHPA. And that there is precedent for us using CIMR funds to match for these types of projects, but it is considered capital investment. So it's 75-25. So we're qualified.
water.
For capital.
Water side. So instead of 525.
I think, the intent of this is to, to block off those funds to make sure that we have that. So if we move forward with the grant process, and it's a 75-25 split, and, everything depends on what the ultimate cost of the project is, but it's, what you say, 175,
240,000 for that. Try to put that, but that's just again, that was a ballpark. Yeah. Inflation, whatever it might cost us, we don't know what the, say to.
Yeah, the project description from 2021 noted that the berm depth was 34 feet at mean low water, and that the authorized depth was 40 feet. But I know since I've been, affiliated with OHPA, we have a depth at the berm in south end. Ever, I don't, you might know, right?
It got close, the last time that John Solomon dug it out for us. But as I've said, you got that tidal flow that comes out of those tributaries, and when it comes out, it comes right for that dock, bounces off, and when it does, it just drops all that material there. And that's why it's gotta be an ongoing deal. Maybe in my tenure there, we've done probably 3 or 4 of them. So, I would suggest that we, refer this to our next meeting, give Commissioner Cole a chance to see if he can round up some firm figures, and then we'll look at our grant opportunities, and then we'll go from there.
You have a copy of what he just put, correct?
Yes.
And you have sent it to us yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna table it till next month.
Do you mind, is this listed on the agenda? Or no? Okay, I was gonna say, you don't need a motion then. I was gonna say move to postpone rather than table it. You're just postponing it to the next meeting, but it's not an action item.
Just float across that. All right, let's move on. Delinquent reimbursement funds. I understand that we haven't made any headway with that.
We have made with it. Danny, do you want to take this?
Okay. Yes, my understanding is that all of the reimbursed amounts for my time, it has been processed.
It should have been in the check run today.
Yeah, so that would cover reimbursements for me. For the property appraiser cases. We are in the same position, and you have a letter in front of you that I wrote to our former port authority attorney. And there's $9,900 that is still outstanding as reimbursement for his time. But in October, a few months ago, we got a letter from the operator's attorney in Wilson that said why they were refusing to pay some of those fees. And said we should go and get it from the former port attorney. So that's why I wrote the letter, and at this time, the operator is not reimbursing that $9,900.
But John he had a conversation with you. I directed him to work.
Oh, yeah. If you mean to pay that $9,900, I mean,
Pay yours.
Oh, yeah, mine is, you said mine's in the check run.
Right.
So those are not, 9,900 is not mine. We're
But
talking about Patrick.
I think it's good to get some context here because again, I'm not a lawyer, but like there's a valid reason why these aren't being paid.
There's an argument.
Right.
Well, I don't want to say there's a valid reason. I think that the operator should work with us if we want to make a claim against Patrick for that money, that's fine. The letter that I wrote today says, not only do we want the $9,900 refunded, OHPA wants refunded any and all legal fees for 2022 and 2023 tax years. So by not reimbursing our books for the $9,900, that puts us in a weird position with our auditors and all of that stuff, because we're carrying it from last year. Going after and seeking this from Patrick, he doesn't agree. I've spoken with him on the phone, so I don't know where this is gonna go, but that's really what it is $9,900. And you know how skinny our budget is a big deal when it's just left hanging out there as a receivable it's not paid.
So, okay,
But then we have the fabric warehouse stuff I haven't brought up yet,
the 9,900 is yours.
is mine.
Yes, that's the total outstanding.
Okay.
The total outstanding for Patrick is $19,102.50. That's including work on the property appraiser, which is $2,787.50 outstanding. And for the fabric warehouse, $16,315. So as I understand it, I have a note here, Savage declined reimbursement, asserting that Patrick was at fault for failing to file.
So that's the 2,000.
That's
a little under $3,000. But that wouldn't be, if that's what we're gonna say, then our claim would be for everything that we paid Patrick for working.
Total years.
the total for Patrick,
That includes the fabric warehouse, which is 16,000 and change.
$19,102.50. And just to set a precedent, Savage has paid for some of the invoices, but now they just stopped. The fabric warehouse work by Patrick should be reimbursed. As I remember it, it's not in contention.
And my understanding, and I think that is to be continued for a short time, because John was here, was seriously looking at the fabric warehouse. Because he was part of it too, because he represented, did he represent you guys in that? He was, so
he was brought on.
Yeah, he's been part of this, so.
Yeah.
The letter that we got regarding the fabric warehouse reimbursements from Amy Savage.
Which I told John to take over all that from me.
I know. And so he said on the fabric warehouse, he wants to dig into it and see, because it doesn't seem to me, now we got a bill in September for fabric warehouse work for like $175
That's still on hold.
from Patrick. So he wants to look at that billing and see, because the previous letter that we got from the operator's attorney said that they did not authorize that work. And yeah, because they only authorized Patrick Rukowski to attend the mediation, but there was a lot of work leading up to it, and then some follow-up work that was built. So I would just let John look at that, and since he's new, and I know it's just another, okay, we've got to take this to the next, but my fees are getting reimbursed. The fees spent on Patrick, and that's under $3,000, is not being paid by the operator because they think that Patrick was at fault. And then we're left.
We
with
both think
fabric
he was at fault.
Huh?
We both think he was at fault.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with Amy's letter. Did I dig in? She's the one that gave the timeline. I wasn't even here. So,
So the amount of money that's still on the street that we got honestly coming to us is what?
19.
19 plus 10,000, 20, $30,000 out there.
And you made a check on today
For all of her fees.
For the 9,900.
for the 9,000.
And I have not received
$1,000 still out there, so
19,000.
19,000.
19,000, okay. Can you look into that? I mean,
And Chairman, and that's why, like, I hired John, like he's billing me to look at this, right? That's why, when I'm in these meetings, you can tell the board doesn't like dealing with an attorney out in Salt Lake City that sometimes doesn't respond. But even today, John responded right away. So, I mean, that's why we're digging through this. But, I think the assertion is some of these bills, we shouldn't be responsible for. Because either we think there was malpractice, or we think it wasn't authorized by Savage. Now, listen, I'll be reasonable. Just give my guy a chance to look into it, right? I mean, I'm not trying to rip you off or anything.
I hope, again, I would like to dispel the distrust, really, because it's not gonna be good for me. We got this money on the street and we would like to get reimbursed. I mean, I keep hearing about, well, they're gonna bill them for the services and stuff. That's not good business. If it's something that you're tangled up in, you should handle it with your attorneys. If it's something that the Port Authority needs to take care of, then we'll work through our attorney. But saying, no, you take care of it, we'll pay you later. That's like, oh, when that brother straightens up, and I don't like the way that business is carried on because we're sitting here arguing and nobody's getting paid.
Right, but I think again, if you just let John work on it, but I think the assertion is that Patrick went off and did work that wasn't authorized and we were paying the bill, and then he throws y'all a bill, y'all paid it without consulting with us, and then we get this legal bill and Savage goes, we didn't authorize this work. Why did he go to the federal warehouse here? That's what I'm being told. Again, I wasn't here either, right? I'm trying to dig through this and figure it out. If it's a valid bill, it'll be paid, right? And I'm not saying I'm going to uphold Amy Polson's opinion on everything, but I got to look at it with the eyes wide open and use counsel.
I would ask this. If you would look into this, if there was something done or wasn't done that should have been done, then Patrick would owe us back for that money.
And on the property appraiser issue, that's exactly what the draft letter is doing. Is saying, Patrick, this is on you and we want the refund. And also, if you lose the appeal, you may be looking to you again for taxes that have to be paid. But regarding the fabric warehouse, there's not really I'm happy to do it. If I go combing through the bills, it's going to be very difficult for me. I was not sure that he was authorized to do this mediation work. I will go back and I will look at there's an authorization, but a vote by the board and their meeting minutes. And so I will look at those and see what
And then we'll put it to bed.
Pardon?
And then we'll put it to bed.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, let's do it.
I think that I certainly know that in my conversations with Ted and certainly with John, I've worked with John for a long time, is that I didn't have any issue with Amy Polson, but I feel like she was dealing with a lot more than just this. When you have a local attorney who has history, his whole family history, as a matter of fact, and has a lot of familiarity with the court, that we're going to be better off.
Okay.
So
May I, Chair?
Go ahead.
So if you remember, I found some documentation in minutes and authorization, and I forwarded it to you. And I even stated on the email, Savage cannot change their mind midpoint because they've been paying for
they've
it.
been paying. No,
And then all of a sudden, no, we're not going to pay for it anymore.
and I think what Ted's saying here is that he is willing to view this with an open mind, and he wants John to look at with
Absolutely. I'm not here to rip anybody off.
I will look at the minutes and see if I can tell. I know time-wise, I'm confused because as soon as the mediation happened, the settlement agreement was brought to this board when very early on, when I was either attending or brought on. And I don't think there was much work done after that September bill. Because I have the March, April, and May.
And I just forwarded to the full board and you and Pierre
Okay.
a copy of the $175 invoice
Yeah.
just this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, and the more time you have to spend on it, Tammy, that's more legal time.
Exactly.
I mean,
I'll reimburse her fees to deal with this. Let's please, I'm serious, I will.
I would appreciate you helping
Yeah.
us out to get this off, because I'm sitting here looking down my agenda. And it's the same stuff that's been on here for 4 meetings, and to me, that shouldn't happen. Okay, let's work to get this stuff wrapped up.
I agree.
Sealed up, and move on to something that we really need to be dealing. You know, the old saying is, if you owe me, pay me. If I owe you, I'll pay you. And I think we've come to that agreement tonight. Let's get it done, move
Yep,
forward.
I agree.
and Take care.
Chair, so was that verbal from the operator, is that legally binding? Because that's what happened with the fabric warehouse when Greg Hale, Commissioner Hill
send me an
said,
email.
I mean, I'm,
we need to have it in writing.
I'm doing it right now,
All right.
as we speak. Good Lord.
So,
You know,
I keep asking for documents.
and I do not think that there's anything wrong with that. And
Yep.
long as Mr. McNair, please put that in writing so we can
Doing it
cover
right.
this.
Doing it right.
That way, if there's ever, it makes her life a lot easier. You know, I see some of the stuff that goes on with her and these invoices. It would drive me nuts. I'd be paying people business. Okay. But I want us to work together harmoniously, which that's a stretch, but I really want that to happen. Okay. Um, I think we owe it to the people in the court. I think we do.
Thank you, Dennis.
And if we neglect it, they're the ones that are gonna suffer. So let's move forward with this. So I appreciate you, taking care of that. Uh, extended labor, have you got anything on that? If not, we'll move on. Any updates on it?
So I got an MOU in your meeting packet. Actually, there's an error in it that I made. I'm sorry. I state in the facility as I include the blue house as part of the facility, which is which is not, but it's just, this MOU just kind of regurgitates what y'all had a unanimous yes vote on at the last meeting. So I would appreciate it, and if we could get this, officially signed, and then I'd love to bring these guys here, introduce them to you, and
Commissioner, you have any issue with that?
As I recall, we talked in general about last meeting, agreeing to an MOU. But we never quite discussed, it's not to my opinion. We didn't discuss the price point in town. I see here that,
yeah, but I mean, we took a motion, sorry to interrupt you, we took a motion and accepted the offer, which is,
let's say we did that, what didn't we talk about 10% as over
that was what was discussed.
So we haven't signed the MOU, but the confidentiality language is not really true. We attached it to the agenda.
What's
It
that?
says that we won't disclose the terms of the MOU. But
I mean, we can modify if needed.
It's hereby disclosed. It's been disclosed.
it's
Because it's out there on the website.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
That's okay. That's completely standard normal language for private contracting. So yeah.
I know, I outsourced this.
Commissioner, we move it to we defer it to the next meeting, or what say you?
You know, I'd like to talk about the percentage rates, 90-10 split. Seems to be a little bit exorbitant. 75-25. You know, certainly don't want to get the negotiations here, but you know, that seems, you know, to my way of thinking.
Well, and to your point, just to gut check, how much should an authority charge? I looked at the revenue numbers that, Ted showed me, and then I looked at what our current company price for. And I tried to get a sense, other boards, ISPR, is there any benchmarking that you could provide? And, exchange some emails on that point. And I'm comfortable with 10%, but I would be interested to see, what.
This is a hot button item. The prospect would locate their offices at the Blue House. And I would have to, but to locate them, y'all know that place is in pretty bad shape. I've got to fully renovate it, which could be very expensive. So it kind of, in my mind, it helps soap out because it takes the pressure off of immediate dredging. Because the prospects vessels don't need but about 26 feet. And then the Blue House, stays in our ownership and is connected to the port as an office. And it's renovated.
Now, my understanding is this was going to be approximately a 1-year project. Or is it going to be ongoing?
Ongoing, yeah. I mean, the initial term is 40 months.
So, paragraph 1 says that OPA will be, acknowledges and agrees that relays entry into and performance under the service agreement will not be a violation, default, or breach of the OPA operating agreement. And then, to the extent relays entry into a performance of the service agreement could be deemed to conflict with any provision of the OPA operating agreement, OPA hereby waives any right to assert a default claim to remedy against relay arising in connection therewith.
So that's just to address.
So we haven't seen this agreement that you have with the state customer, but we're supposed to waive any claims to assert defaults against you for any conflict with the operating agreement.
I mean, that language block in there was just to address section 6.10 in the operating agreement. So maybe it's too wordy. And I can whittle that down if needed.
So I think that the operating agreement requires us to agree to a revenue share before you enter into an agreement with another, with a different line of business.
Which I haven't.
Right. And then we've agreed in concept, and there are terms in the operating agreement that discuss this, that if there's going to be an impact to the community, or if there's going to be a scheduled substance that is handled at the court, that open has to have advance notice of
And
that.
neither of those apply.
So those are the types of things that, if that did happen, we wouldn't want to inadvertently have waived our right to object, right? So I would like to just authorize an agreement that is otherwise in compliance with your operating agreement, but it's just a different line of revenue, right?
Okay.
That's fair. And I don't think we should be waiving any conflicts between agreements we haven't read. I don't think that's fair responsibility.
Okay, so you'd like that last sentence deleted?
It's the last 2 sentences. The second one can be fixed. The third one should be deleted. I think really the first sentence is what you claim that you need, is that we're authorizing you to enter into an agreement, right? And so maybe the second 2 sentences could be deleted.
Okay.
And then section 4, if each party agrees, so the terms of the MOU obviously are out there. The service agreement is probably going to end up being public because it's public, it's a public port. anything to do with money is gonna end up being public.
Yeah.
The only things that you can really protect are like, before you've entered into the agreement for 2 years, you can negotiate with a prospective business and not have to disclose that.
The Florida Public Records Law, though, Ted, there are exemptions for trade secrets, which is the proprietary information that,
Very narrowly construed.
yes. There's specific exemptions that cover financial, certain financial things, and they are limited.
Okay,
Security clearance
Mhm.
are excluded.
so what's the direction here? Would you like me to modify this?
I have not had an opportunity to, or been tasked with reviewing this, and making any suggested changes.
So it sounds like Ted was open to those revisions that I just recited.
Okay,
And then I'll mark them.
Okay.
Send that to you.
perfect. So you'll hear from me, Ted. I'll send you some markups.
Okay.
Chair, can you put a deadline on for draft 2, please?
Mhm.
I think we need to have that to her.
In the meeting packet.
It needs to be a
Well, prior to that,
prior to that, so we need to get this chain moving. Because that's one of the biggest problems I see. We get sent correspondence the day of the meeting and we can't do that. Because we have to have this stuff ahead of time so we can read it, digest it, and know what we're looking at when we do. Okay, so let's say that we need to have that in your possession by Wednesday next week.
That's
Okay.
April 1st.
is that plenty of time for you to review and make?
Well, Commissioner Hill is, yeah, Commissioner Hill is sending me the changes that they discussed here. Yes, it doesn't take, that's plenty of time.
Okay, deadline is Wednesday,
And,
April 1st.
and what that means, Ted, is that before then, we'll send you the marked up changes, and then you turn around and provide an direction that we can actually approve at the next meeting,
Sounds good.
April 8th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
okay, moving on, to the next, any further discussion on that before we move along? Okay, good. Let's go to the Shrimp Fest, when you come up with a choice.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, contact her, everyone.
Immersion. Immersion, yes. She was my predecessor.
They will be in, well, they said they would do the 3 lots, but they particularly would be interested, if possible, just doing the 2 lots in, one day, just because of, the difficult or potential difficulty in getting the program of volunteers to staff up, 3 lots. She said that they would be, fine with an 80-20 split between, Southside Elementary and OHPA on the proceeds from the parking. So that's where we're. She said if it push comes to shove, they need to take off the notice. To go over the other to. She's the other one. I've heard from.
I think to be safer, we need to stay clear of the shrimp lot. In case Travis has any vessel traffic or he needs that area down here for parking for any kind of operation. Front Street gets crazy. So, parking gets crazy. If he ends up with a ship during that weekend, it's gonna be mayhem down there. So we'll leave the front lot open for you. So, Any further discussion on that?
Are there any ships that are scheduled, there's,
You have any scheduled information for that weekend?
They were,
What's going?
Do we need a document?
This 80-20 split with them, with the school.
for weekend.
Everything right.
A letter.
Good. Is that KLB shit gonna slip?
It's right now, it could be, we end up. I don't know, we do have a meeting with this, it'd be very.
If you have a tailor ship, you can use that for. We'll just monitor that. I mean, we can modify it, you can just let me know, or get in touch with Commissioner Moore, and then he can go to his contact. But for safety reasons, I think we need to stay away from that.
We should have a good idea by next meeting.
Yeah, okay.
the one thing about that waterfall is that it's a great view of the fireworks. For anybody that, and that usually is kind of a quiet, crowds as like Saturday and Sunday when you get tons of people coming from, the kids are out of school and. I think usually the fireworks are on Thursday,
Thursday,
so.
might go up in the crane.
That'd be a bullseye. Yeah, that'd be a good.
Chair,
All right.
Chair.
Yes,
Can we have a document drafted for the 80-20 split? I need it in writing,
A letter.
Who's that working piece?
Or,
the 80-20 split.
Evergreen south side from.
Okay, I did, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that as much as my apologies. I don't think we should do any total split. Why are we doing it?
You need to generate them something.
So just to rewind, when we talked about the parking thing, the reason that the city came to the conclusion that we didn't need a special permit is that the parking uses that are allowed that weekend are properties that are otherwise zoned. The underlying zoning doesn't permit it. And it's nonprofits that are taking money. It's not like, a parking administrators coming in and setting up a parking business on these private properties. Because that would be objectionable to the city. But they, their response was that they don't require a strict festival because most of the people that are doing it are, they're doing the person's charity. So it's such a small amount of money, I just feel like it's not a very gracious offer to a nonprofit to then say they want like a fee sharing. And what is that fee sharing really for? I don't know, like what are we doing?
is she school, is she in the school?
Yeah, south side.
I can tell you what, with what's going on right now with, budgeting and everything that they got going on, I think that it would be a big, gesture on our part just to say, you come and operate it and you take what you make. I mean, 20% still like to start. It's my opinion that, hey, look, if we're looking at this for charity, let's give it to them. Let's just be charity. That's my opinion. You have yours, so if you want to voice it, then,
What do we do? No split?
I say this, but
Motion?
if we were trying to run this parking for money, like bring in a parking operator, the city would not approve that.
you know, if they ask, we could say, hey, it all went to charity.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would raise a stake of charity. The schools can use the money. That's the bottom line. So, Commissioner Moore,
Okay, that's the role for.
So I just think at this point, you know, and they're willing to put the boots on the ground down there and monitor it and take care of it. Yeah,
Yeah, the teachers volunteered. They sat out there all day outside, and they made a huge fuss, so it was.
yeah. I mean, that's my opinion. If it pleases the board, we'll just let them have it and we'll move on.
Vice Chair, do you want me to reach out to Barb?
No.
Yeah. Then not that anyway, so, without any further ado, Tim, we'll move on. Vendor replacement,
She's done.
I know that there's Kyle and Brian's gonna be there tomorrow
Yep.
at 1 o'clock. Or are you gonna be there?
All right, yeah.
There'll be a photo op, they're gonna take some pictures of it, which
You
is.
better get a John boat if you want a real photo. I would say though, like safety, just if anybody wants to look at the fenders, just put a life jacket on. We've got them out. I don't want anybody leaning over. And then we are waiting on the final invoice from TIC. Once we get that, we'll get everything submitted, but it went off without a hitch. Thank you to Travis and his crew for helping out.
Done. Maybe they could use that. Well, I know the captains that regularly call the port will be appreciative of the new finish.
So I just want to make it clear that Open needs to pay the invoice to TIC. Because that's what we're going to submit to FDOT, a copy of our check. Then there's that $32,000 in question. It's up to you.
$32 in question.
Yeah, so you guys paid TIC.
Yeah, so what I did was to get Kyle off my back, I had them submit a prelim invoice. Well, the problem is I didn't read the fine print on FDOT. You gotta have stuff delivered for it to be a genuine invoice. And so TIC credited us back. And so now we've got it all straightened out. So Mary's just waiting on the final invoice and we'll get it all straight.
Thank you.
Okay, so they're gonna be looking for a check from OHPA.
We need the invoice from them and we need the funds to pay the invoice.
That's
Yeah, but we just don't have the invoice yet, 'cause I can't do anything. Mary asked for it yesterday, so.
Yes, I
I
will.
think the board rest of that, receiving it, so we know that everything is taken care of, how it should be.
Yes, thank you. Yes, the grant expires March 31st, and then we have 120 days after that to invoice FDOT.
Travis, thank you to your crew for assisting in that, getting that done. That's been a long time coming. All right, we're moving on to AP, RFP crane refurbishment. Mr. McNair, you have anything on that?
So as you know, I went out and found the vendors I thought would be the best value for us to get this done the fast, et cetera. Well, yeah, and I need to start reading my fine print a little more. FDOT rules are it has to be a competitive bidding process, so we need to submit an RFP to, was it BidStar or what do y'all use?
Demand Star.
Demand Star. So I went ahead and drafted one up. It's kind of a specialized RFP, meaning we're not putting out an RFP for a general contractor because I'm gonna save that money. We're gonna manage the project ourselves. And so I put it into 3 separate items, just as I did with the bids with the proposals you saw. So one's gonna be for the mechanical. That's basically to take all the engines, all the electric motors and have them rebuilt and the big Cummins motor up top out of the crane, down, off-site, rebuilt, brought back. That's what Coker bid on. Then NIDEC for the controls and all the electrical, I kind of detailed all that. And so, and then the paint's kind of a minor thing, it's a spot paint job. So just to be in compliance, and again, like, I mean, I hope other people throw out some bids, just so we can see. And so, yeah, it's kind of what I came up with.
So OHPA's to put out the RFP,
Is it a RFP or RFB?
document says RFP.
So, but he's asking for bids, correct?
Says,
Proposals are fine for this. There's not really, it doesn't matter if it's an
I'm just-
invitation. No, I know. An
I'm just
invitation
trying-
to bid or request for proposal. This document in the packet is titled Request for Proposals. And usually in, are you asking for pricing in here? I haven't looked at it. Okay.
Okay, so it's not gonna be an RFP, it's gonna be RFP.
If it's a B, it should be ITB, invitation to bid. Or an RFP, which is request for proposal. I don't have any legal issue with, unless Davis knows what, I think an RFP is fine. I've never heard the state and federal agencies, they don't care which one it is. They just want it to be competitive and go out and allow people to bid.
One more question, sorry. Tammy,
Yes.
does can the operator send the RFP to Coker and directly?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody
Anything
want direct?
from us to do
I
that?
would like, I guess we need a motion to upload this to Demand Store.
Well, you
You
have
have to
to,
approve the
yeah.
RFP. It's your part.
yeah, so that's where if you haven't read it, Tammy,
I need to read it. So. But I mean, you can do it condition upon my review and approval. I mean, so far what I'm reading here looks very good and pretty particular.
Oh, that's necessary.
I think a motion would be helpful when we move on from here. If it's okay, I'll have a look at it in the morning.
I'll make a motion to proceed with this RFP, based on your recommendations.
Okay.
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye.
sorry, Chairman, I have a couple of things I would like to discuss before we vote. Is that okay? So the administrative requirements list like safety standards, work schedule, oversight. I think in that section, Tammy is about invoicing and meeting, meeting, basically making sure that this RFP meets the requirements so that we can apply for FDOT grant, which we already have, we're changed, right? So make sure that this meets that federal procurement standard.
Yes.
And that the bidder is going to have to meet certain requirements, should be eligible for federal reimbursement funds, right? So they have to meet like all of the workman's comp and all the things that they have to be registered to do business, right? So just make sure that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff and it's all come in from the state of Florida.
Right, you said federal, do you mean state?
Is it state funds? Is it FDOT?
It's FDOT, but it's the same requirements in terms of competitive, so it's very much the same. And so, yes, I'll make sure that I do that. The other is that with the actual format, it's probably wise to, and I have all kinds of purchasing documents that I'm currently working with for clients. But there are all kinds of affidavits now that proposers and bidders have to submit that I should put in here. Like there's an anti-human trafficking affidavit, there's an e-verify affidavit. They don't have to sign it with this, but I will reference those documents because it's good for any proposers to at least see that those are the fault.
Okay, cool.
No problem.
That's okay.
With those elements.
RFP in the morning.
Yes.
I need to attach this to the meeting packet. Please give a deadline for draft 2.
Any problem with April 1st?
No. I'm gonna tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
April 1st, good with you?
Yes, sir.
Do we need to retake the vote?
we kind of jumped the gun.
Yeah, I just hear, so,
Yes, we had some comments
okay,
as we were voting.
all right, we're gonna
Well, we have a motion, but did you all vote?
I second.
Oh.
second, we did, but then she,
It's unanimous.
Okay.
okay, we will retake the vote, all in favor of the motion, aye. Aye. Motion carried, thank you. All right, moving on to A2.
First thing in the morning.
Tangible personal property, Gary, can you give us anything on that? For tangible property?
So tangible personal property, so, Alton, court director Kaufman filed the report in 2022, 2023. So the court has approximately $5 million. You know, there's some claims and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, those are tax rates if you're a business. Obviously, well, I've never seen this before. Again, cost for deciding to file for it, I wasn't aware of it until to the water. So obviously the report's due every year, it's the same cycle as realtors, right? So essentially, the tangible personal property is assessed every November, and it's due the same way as property taxes are due. Obviously, the court is exempt, but obviously given what's going on with the real property, who knows, right? But as of now, they continue to be exempt. The city furniture filed it, so other organizations filed it. Other exempt organizations do file the same report. So the question is, do we want to file it? It's due for
It was filed in 23.
22, 23, filed. We haven't filed since then, and we haven't filed before that. So the question is, do we want to file it or not? So I'll say the side to file it is obviously we update, because obviously the tugboats on there, often needs to be updated slightly. Obviously on the opposite side, should we not file? Again, we're dead, we consider ourselves dead, and should we bother to file?
That's, I'm not comfortable even saying I don't have any expertise in, should we file? I mean, do you have an opinion about whether we would or not?
So no, I mean, but well, I mean, should we go ahead? And the information is out there. Obviously, I say go ahead and file, because obviously, again, it just rolls forward anyway, right? And so, and just like real property, obviously, the chances to once it's done, it's done. Now again, we haven't been assessed in the past years, but they continue to roll the same equipment forward. Again, if this is not current, then again, improve it. So we should current list to bring it to all current version of what property tax.
I mean, I say, yeah, from what I understand about, yeah, the statutes, it doesn't hurt us to file.
Yeah, I mean, the only property that the Port Authority owns out there is point is the three cranes.
Right, but obviously, on the 22 and 23 reports, the tugboats on there and the trucks running, like, just flood, right? So I mean, he does the crane there.
Would you update?
Just said he would.
You do that all? I say in the situation that we're in, it was better we go ahead and do it in case. If somebody questions it, yeah, we follow suit, and if, I appreciate that. If you need anything from us, let us know.
Yeah.
So 2022, I don't see anything from Mr. Kaufman. Like, to me, the timeline doesn't line up, but he was the one who filed these, because 2022 would have been filed, or was that filed in 2023? Like, is it filed after the end of the year? So it's just like.
No, it's filed, so it's filed, so we're filing in 2026 now.
For 2025.
Yeah,
We're filing.
filing now. 2026.
So it would have been.
This will be assessed, the taxes on this property will be assessed in November of 2026. Right,
So it would have been in April 2022 that this was filed.
right. In April 2023.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should.
Again, I don't. They have the information on it. It's not.
It gives us a chance to get the stuff off, no longer off, put the 3 cranes on it, be done with it.
Well, it updates it too. So should we ever get to the point where we are looking at,
I mean, in theory, I'll talk to. Maybe should we take one of the, should we only have 2 cranes? Since the only 2 are functional, should we just take?
oh, gotcha.
Should we just take one of the cranes?
Well, I mean, it's getting late, but I mean, we should talk about which commissioner is FDOT now? Let's talk about that tomorrow, because I mean, we do have some funds going forward, but I mean, my assertion is that we need 1 container crane and then the mobile harbor crane. Like, I'd rather use those forward funds to refurbish the mobile harbor crane and maybe fix some other stuff if we can sweet talk FDOT into it. But I think that's a good idea, though. Even if we don't dismantle, we pin her down on the north end, boom it up, and it's out of service, and cool.
I know you said take number 9 down and boom it up. Please have somebody check that damn cable, because that crane's been down for nearly 3 years.
And Coker will be. We're not going to let our guys. Coker will do it.
Telling you just, listen, I've seen the app. Anchor. Yep. So please follow that. Okay. Let's get on through number 9. We have the bamboo fence issue. Let me just throw this out there. He's got to be careful with any vegetation on all those fences. There has to be a 36-inch barrier that's clear of the fence. Because when Coast Guard comes around, they're going to see any vegetation that's growing up or in that fence. They're going to give him a fit. So I think before we give any approval for this, Travis, you can get your FSO to make a call to the Coast Guard, have them come out, review this, and get their pros, cons, whatever. But I know that they're going to say, because bamboo, once it gets started, it's nasty to control, brother.
I'm sorry, Chairman. Can you remind me what this?
Yeah, this is the West wants to put up bamboo on the fence line along that lot there.
On our property or your
Yes.
property?
That lot that runs all the fence line, that runs all the way down to the far east fence line of the port.
Okay.
And once they plant that stuff, and it gets going, my stand is you're gonna have security issues with it.
That's our property?
It is, I hope Eric Schmidt from Westmont, that's Friday, he won't put in and just us for not. While it's a meeting that, Berlin, I haven't put any further than that yet, I mean, I had a conversation. I know I talked to Commissioner Cole last meeting, and I told you I dropped the ball there, sir, but, yeah. That's it. I just had a conversation with Schmidt Friday, so I mean, I had to confirm.
I would run it by Coast Guard, because even the vegetation that I see there, they're probably gonna say something about it.
What, I mean, if we look at putting it on the terminal side,
They're
like,
gonna put it on this side, my understanding is reading it, he's gonna put it on the south side of that fence.
right, what I'm saying is, would it make more sense to put it on the north side? Cause you'd be able to give more of a buffer from the fence, so to go off of that fence 10 feet and then plant it.
Right. I mean, I don't remember what that's that far in as a commissioner. I don't want bamboo on the inside of that fence, because I'm telling you, that stuff.
I don't love it on our side.
Before this court makes a decision on that, if you'll get with your FSO and have, because you don't want to create a problem for yourself. once that stuff gets going, then you're in there trying to cut it out with a chainsaw. It's not, I mean, it's not easy. So if you'll get us what the codes are. Pros or cons.
Especially with the breaches we, oh,
I'm just telling you, and
I agree with
thing is gonna, then you'll get back with us. With this, FDOT pictures on site tomorrow. We've already kind of discussed that. Kyle will be out there crying. Port Authority annual meeting questionnaire, that's their,
Travis, you have the question, yes?
I do have it. And I'll have it on. I don't look at this point, but we got one for.
okay, I gave a deadline of April 21st. April 21st, is that the correct date? Yeah.
Scott wants it by April 7th.
April 7th,
The April 21st is our meeting with
okay.
FDOT and FSTEC.
Then Travis, you're gonna take care of that, okay? All right. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's running late, but QuickBooks subscription is due $1,242. I need board direction to go ahead and pay that.
Anybody?
Okay, and I will send you an authorization to transfer funds tomorrow. And please share your photos for the website, preferably no people in it. And FDOT is requiring bid tabulations. Since this is the RFP is yours, I'm going to ask for bid tabulation from the full board.
Okay, and
That's for the crane refurbishment.
okay.
I mean, it just depends on how many bids we get. Right? And access was deleted for the past participants in Dropbox, Commissioner Hill.
You're on. How many you put that out?
30 days.
Okay.
That's what I proposed.
Okay.
30 days. Okay, that's it.
Okay, anything else before we adjourn? Yeah.